My name is Mia. I am 24 years old. I work at a small travel agency in the New York City. We help people book flights, hotels, and holiday trips. I started working there 2 years ago. I like the job. It's not always exciting, but the people are nice. My boss is Mr. Carter. He is in his early 40s. He is kind and polite. He always says good morning when he comes in. He always thanks me when I finish my work. One Tuesday morning, I was sitting at my desk. I was checking flight prices for a customer. The office was quiet. Only a few people were in. I heard voices coming from Mr. Carter's office. His door was a little open. I didn't mean to listen, but I could hear him clearly. He was talking to someone on the phone. I heard him say, "She's amazing. She's the perfect one for this. I really like her energy." I stopped typing. I looked at the door. Was he talking about me? He continued, "She works hard.
She's smart.
She has the right attitude. I've been watching her for a while now." My eyes grew wide. Was this really happening? Was Mr. Carter talking about me? He said I had the right attitude.
He said he liked me.
He said I was the one. I remembered last week. He smiled at me when I handed him the new travel report. He told me I did a great job. He even bought me coffee one morning. I thought it was just because he was nice, but maybe it meant something else. Last month, he remembered my birthday. He gave me a small chocolate bar and said, "I hope you enjoy your day." I thought it was just a kind gesture, but now I wondered, did he have feelings for me? I looked around. No one else seemed to notice anything. I tried to act normal, but my mind was full of thoughts. Was Mr. Carter in love with me? Later that day during lunch, I sat with my friend Lena.
She worked at the front desk.
We always ate together in the small break room. I looked at her and whispered, "Lena, I think our boss likes me." She looked at me. "What? Are you serious?" I said, "I heard him talking. He said I was perfect. He said I had the right energy. He said he likes me." Lena raised her eyebrows. "Wait, when did this happen?" "This morning," I said. "He was on the phone, but the door was open." I didn't mean to listen, but I heard everything. Lena smiled. "Wow, that's something. Maybe he really likes you." I felt nervous and excited. "What do I do?" Lena laughed. "Maybe he's going to ask you out. Maybe he wants to say something." I smiled, but I didn't know what to think. Part of me was happy. Mr. Carter was a good man. He was smart and polite, but he was also my boss. What if I was wrong? That afternoon, while I was answering emails, I heard a message alert on my computer. It was from Mr. Carter. It said, "Hi Mia. Can we meet in my office at 3 p.m? I have something important to discuss." I stared at the message. My heart was beating fast. This was it. He wanted to talk. He said it was important. What else could it be? Lena saw my face and walked over. "What happened?"
He wants to meet me at 3.
I said, "This is it." She said, "Be ready. Maybe he's going to tell you how he feels." I couldn't focus on work after that. I checked the clock every few minutes. I looked in the mirror before going to his office. I fixed my hair. I wanted to look calm. At exactly 3 p.m., I walked to his office. I knocked once. He looked up from his laptop and smiled.
"Come in, Mia.
Please sit down." I sat across from him. He closed his laptop and looked serious. "Thank you for coming," he said. "I wanted to talk to you about something very important." I nodded slowly.
This was the moment, he said.
"You've been doing very well. Your work is excellent. I've noticed how you help the customers. I see how you manage your time and support the team. You're always polite and professional." I smiled a little. He was giving me compliments. Was this how he would start? Then he continued, "We're starting a new project. A few of our international partners are opening an office in Spain. We're looking for someone to go there for 3 months and help them. We think you would be perfect for this. Your name came up during our meeting this morning." I blinked. He went on. "Of course, it's a big step, but it's a great opportunity. You'll get to travel. You'll meet new people. And you'll represent our agency." I didn't know what to say. I sat there confused. So, this was it. The phone call wasn't about love. It was about this new project. He thought I was perfect for work. He smiled.
You don't need to answer now. Think about it.
Talk to your family if you want, but I believe this is a great chance for you. I nodded. Yes, thank you. He stood up and shook my hand. We're lucky to have you, Mia. I left his office slowly. I walked back to my desk. Lena ran to me. Well, what did he say? He wants me to go to Spain, I said. She looked surprised.
Spain, I said.
He wants me to help with a new travel office for 3 months. Lena blinked. So, not love. I smiled. No, just a project. We both laughed. I felt a little silly. I was so sure he liked me. I told Lena. I believed it all day. But I was wrong. It wasn't love. It was work. Still, I felt proud. He trusted me with something big. Maybe I didn't get a love story, but I got something else, a new chance, a big opportunity. That evening, I walked home slowly. I thought about everything. I laughed a little. I had imagined a whole story in my head. I thought he was going to confess his feelings, but all he wanted was to offer me a better job. Next time I decided, I would ask before I guess. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know where you're listening from. Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the offer. Spain, a new office, 3 months in another country. I had never left home for that long. I had never even been on a plane by myself. It was exciting but also scary. The next morning, I got up early. I made tea and sat at the small table near the window. I looked outside, but my mind was somewhere else. I kept hearing Mr. Carter's voice. We think you are perfect for this. He said it so clearly. He believed in me. He trusted me. That made me feel good. But it also made me feel nervous. What if I wasn't ready? What if I made mistakes? At work, I saw Lena at the front desk. She smiled when she saw me and came over right away. So, did you decide? She asked. Not yet, I said. I didn't sleep much. I get it, she said. It's a big change. I nodded. Yeah, but maybe I need it. Maybe this is the right time. Lena looked at me for a moment, then smiled. You can do it, Mia. I know you can. I felt a little better after that. She always knew how to make me feel calm. Mr. Carter didn't say anything to me that morning. He just smiled and asked how I was doing. I said I was still thinking about the offer. He said that was fine. There was no rush. I tried to focus on my tasks, but my mind kept drifting. I imagined myself walking through a new city, helping customers in a busy office, speaking with new people, learning new things. It was a nice picture, but then I remembered something else. What if I didn't fit in? What if people there didn't like me? What if I couldn't do the job well? I sighed and looked around the office. Everything here felt safe. I knew where everything was. I knew everyone's name. I had a routine, and part of me didn't want to let that go. At lunch, I sat with Lena again. I told her all my thoughts, the good and the bad. She listened quietly, then said, You're scared. That's okay. But being scared doesn't mean you shouldn't go. It just means you care. She was right. I did care. I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to disappoint Mr. Carter. But I also didn't want to miss a chance just because I was afraid. That evening, I called my sister. She lived in another city and always gave me honest advice. When I told her everything, she laughed softly. So, you thought your boss was in love with you? She asked. I know it sounds silly now. I said it's not silly. We all do that. We hear things and we make a story in our head. But hey, this time the story turned out even better. I guess I said, but I feel a little embarrassed.
Don't, she said.
You got offered something amazing. That means you're doing something right.
We talked for a while.
She asked about the office in Spain and what I would be doing there. I didn't know all the details yet, but I promised to tell her more if I said yes. After the call, I sat on my bed and stared at the ceiling. The room was quiet. I thought about everything again. Not just about the job, but about me. About how I used to feel unsure of myself. About how when I first started working at the agency, I was scared to answer the phone. I was afraid to talk to angry customers. I didn't know how to book a full trip without checking the manual 3 times. Now things were different. I was helping others. I was answering questions. I was solving problems without asking for help. Maybe I had grown. Maybe I was stronger than I thought. The next morning, I walked into the office with a new feeling. I sat down, opened my computer, and got to work. I finished 3 bookings before noon. I checked details twice. I helped a family who wanted to travel with their baby. I even called the hotel myself to ask about baby beds. I did it all without feeling scared. Mr. Carter came over to my desk just before lunch. "Have you thought more about the offer?" he asked. I looked up at him. He was smiling like always, calm and friendly. "Yes," I said. "I want to go." His smile grew bigger. "I'm very happy to hear that. I think this will be good for you. You'll learn a lot, and the team in Spain is excited to meet you." He didn't say much else. He just told me someone from the main office would contact me soon. They would help me with the travel details and housing. It would all be covered by the company. I thanked him again and went back to my desk, but my hands were shaking just a little. I wasn't scared anymore. I was just full of energy. Lena came by and gave me a quick hug. "I'm going to miss you," she said. "I'm not leaving forever," I said with a smile. "Still, you're my lunch buddy," she said. "Spain better be worth it." I laughed and promised to send her pictures. The next few days passed quickly. I received an email from the Spain office. They sent me my flight information and a welcome note. They said I would help train some of the new workers. I felt proud. I wasn't just going to learn. I was going to teach. On Friday, Mr. Carter called me into his office again. This time, he was not alone. There was a woman sitting beside him. She stood up and introduced herself. Her name was Elena. She was the regional director. She shook my hand and said, "We've heard many good things about you." I thanked her, and she nodded. "This project is important. We need someone who can lead by example." She smiled at me, then looked at Mr. Carter. "I think you made the right choice." He smiled back. "She's exactly what we need." I smiled too, but inside I felt something different. Not the kind of feeling I had when I thought he was in love with me. This time I just felt proud of myself. Not for being chosen, but for growing into the kind of person who could be. The day of my flight came faster than I expected. One moment I was printing tickets and replying to emails. The next I was standing at the airport with my small suitcase and a travel folder in my hand. It was my first time flying alone. I checked everything twice. My passport, my hotel details, my welcome letter. I took a deep breath and walked to the gate. On the plane, I sat by the window. The city looked smaller and smaller as we took off. I felt nervous again, but it was a calm kind of nervous. I didn't know what to expect, but I was ready. When I arrived in Spain, a driver met me at the airport. He held a sign with my name. He smiled and helped me with my bag. The car ride was quiet, but I looked out the window the whole time. The city was bright and full of life. I saw shops, cafes, and people walking with maps and suitcases. It felt different, but good. At the hotel, I checked in and went to my room. It was small but clean. I opened the window and looked outside. I could see a street with little restaurants. A group of tourists walked by laughing. It made me smile. The next morning, I walked to the travel agency branch. It was just a few blocks away. The building was white with large windows. A woman greeted me at the door. She said her name was Rosa. She was the team manager there. "We're so happy you're here, Mia," she said. "Let me show you around." She introduced me to everyone. They all smiled and spoke clearly. Some of them knew a little English and some spoke very well. Rosa explained that I would help answer English emails, train 2 new assistants, and support their weekend travel program. By lunchtime, I already felt part of the team. That evening, I called Lena. "You made it," she said. "How's Spain?" "It's beautiful," I said. "And the people are nice." "Good, but don't fall in love with another boss," she joked. I laughed. "Don't worry, I learned my lesson." We talked for a few more minutes. Then I told her I had to go. I wanted to get some rest. The days in Spain went fast. I worked from Monday to Friday. Every day, I helped the new assistants. I showed them how to use the booking system. I answered their questions. Sometimes I made mistakes, but I didn't feel bad. Everyone was patient. Everyone helped each other. On the weekends, I walked around the city. I visited the park near the river. I sat in little cafes and watched people pass by. I tried new food. I took photos of everything. I even joined a walking tour one Sunday and met two girls from Italy. We spent the afternoon together talking and laughing. One day at work, Rosa called me to her office. She asked me to sit down. Mia, she said, you've helped us a lot. You're kind and clear. The new staff really like learning from you. I smiled. Thank you. That means a lot. She continued, we would like to ask you something. It's not official yet, but we're thinking about opening a training role. Someone who visits all our branches to support new teams. It would mean more travel, not just Spain, but maybe Portugal or France too. I looked at her, surprised.
Me?
She nodded. Yes, you work well with others. You stay calm, and you explain things clearly. You don't need to say yes now, but I wanted you to know we're thinking about it. I thanked her and went back to my desk. I couldn't stop smiling. That evening, I sat in my hotel room and thought about how much had changed. Just a few weeks ago, I was sitting at my desk back home, thinking my boss liked me. I told Lena. I imagined a whole story in my head, but that story was wrong. Still, it led me here. Sometimes we hear something and we think we understand, but we only hear a part. We don't know the whole picture.
That's what happened to me.
I thought I heard the truth. I thought I knew what Mr. Carter meant, but I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't, because if I had been right, maybe nothing would have changed. Maybe I would still be sitting at my desk waiting for something special to happen. But now I was the one doing something special. 3 months later, I flew home. My team in Spain gave me a little party on my last day. They gave me a card, some chocolates, and a photo of the whole team together. We all hugged before I left. Rosa said, remember the door is always open. Back in my city, I went straight to the office to say hello. Lena ran to hug me as soon as she saw me.
You look different, she said.
I laughed. Maybe a little. You look stronger, she said. And happy. Mr. Carter came out of his office and smiled. Welcome back, Mia. I heard great things. Thank you, I said. We sat down later and talked about Spain. I told him about the team, the work, and the offer from Rosa. He nodded the whole time. I think you'd be perfect for that role, he said. I want to try, I said, and he smiled again. That night, I walked home and felt proud. Not because of the new job or the travel or the compliments, but because I had changed. I had believed in something that wasn't real. And that made me feel silly. But I didn't stay in that feeling. I moved forward. I took the next step. And that step brought me somewhere better. Life doesn't always go the way we expect. Sometimes we think it's a love story. Sometimes we wait for someone else to choose us. But sometimes the story is about something else. Growth, change, believing in yourself. I used to think my boss was in love with me. But what I really found was something better. I found my next chapter.